We all know at least some of the benefits of stretching on the physical side. But did you know that the muscles themselves are more emotional or psychological than they are physical? And the question is do you know the psychological benefits of stretching as well? The lack of the psychological benefits is what stops most people from becoming more flexible. Today, we're going to delve into how to get you more flexible, focusing on not only just the physical side, but the emotional side as well. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's get into breaking down the chains of convention. In other words, the traditional way of stretching, what's wrong with it is that we're actually doing strength training even though we're calling it stretching. How many of you have laid on your back, put your feet flat on the bed, and lift your hips up thinking that you're stretching your back? Did you know that most back pain is caused by the muscles on the front of your thighs, the quads, and the muscles in front of your hips, the hip flexors? And so when you try to stand up, back pain increases because you're trying to pull these muscles apart. If you lay on your back with your feet flat on the floor and you lift your hips up off the floor thinking you're stretching your back, you may in fact actually be increasing what's happening in your back pain and causing that pain to increase. For many people, it becomes frustrating and they're doing everything that they're told to do. They're holding stretches for 15, 20, 30, 60 seconds at a time. They're pulling as hard as they can because they think what they're doing is they're pulling the muscles like taffy. And the truth of the matter is that all you're doing with stretching is you are releasing the tension in the muscle itself. When you pull like taffy, that gives you resistance. Resistance from two ways. Number one, the muscle is already stiff. And number two, the brain is afraid you're going to hurt yourself. It's called anticipation of pain. And so when you hold that for long periods of time, you kick in each muscle what's called a stretch reflex. And it takes about 5 to 6 seconds for that reflex to kick in. Once the brain senses there could be danger of you harming yourself, the brain then contracts the muscle. And now what you're doing is you're fighting with resistance from the brain, which is stretch training, right? You think of resistance training, well, you've got a weight or a rubber band, and the more you pull it or the higher you lift it, the more resistance you get. The same is true when people are trying to stretch conventionally. So when you get there, that now it means that while we're pulling as hard as we can, A, that muscle's not going to release, and B, other muscles that are fighting the resistance are going to get tighter as well, so the problem can actually increase. And that's when you hear people say, well, I've tried stretching, I'm just not a flexible person. And the truth of the matter is, they just haven't been taught how to do it correctly. When you are stretching, and again, like I said, you are releasing the tension in the muscles. At the same time, you're releasing the tension in the brain. And in our next segment, we're going to talk about that here, how to release that tension in your brain. When you release that tension, now the muscle itself relaxes. So when you think about your muscles, we've heard people talk about muscle memory and my muscles are fighting with me. Well, A, there is no such thing as muscle memory. Actually, what you have is a neural pathway laid down in the brain that remembers what muscles need to be recruited to make that movement happen. If your muscles themselves had a memory, then anyone who has been paralyzed from damage to the brain from a stroke or a traumatic brain injury or a spine injury, the muscle itself would be able to remember how to lift your arm or how to hold on to a cup of something. The fact of the matter is you have an injury somewhere else in your body and the hand or the leg becomes useless. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about muscle memory. The muscle in your leg, the muscle in your arm does not have the memory to move the way it's supposed to. So when we're doing stretching the correct way, we are releasing the tension because the body is totally reactive. So everything from the shoulders down is totally reactive to everything that's from the shoulders up. And so now what happens is we're marrying psychology with physiology, but we're allowing the body itself to relax. And when it relaxes, it takes the tension off the joints. It takes the tension off the spine. It takes the tension off the nerves and the blood vessels because your muscles are the only thing in the world that can do that. Now, some people may disagree with me, but when you think about it, what's the difference in someone who is a quadriplegic, for instance, versus you? They have the same bones you have. They have the same nerves you have. They have the same muscles you have. The only difference is their muscles can't apply the pressure to their bones. so they can sit up in a chair or they can stand up and walk. So when you think about the muscles, our focus has always been on the physical side because 99% of all studies on muscles have been done on the physical side. It's easy to measure. Whereas when you're talking about the emotional side, that's a much more difficult thing to measure when you do that. So let's get into that. What I call the mind-body mayhem. Now, those of you who have done yoga, you've heard of the mind-body connection, okay? So think of your brain as the CEO of your muscles. So your brain is there to keep you out of harm's way 100% of the time. So when you think about the same old saying of the saber-toothed tiger is chasing you, well, if the tiger was actually chasing you and you're running and running and running like crazy, you're not going to stop to go to the bathroom. You're not going to get hungry all of a sudden. You're not going to want to go to sleep. Why? Because the tiger would eat you. You'd become his lunch, you see. So the brain then has to shut down the need to go to the bathroom, the need to feel hunger, the need to feel tired, because it's fighting like crazy to keep you alive. Now, replace that tiger with things that worry you, things that you're concerned about, thinking about whatever you're doing may not work out right, feeling frustrated or angry about something. If you replace those things in that, what happens now is that the brain looks at that frustration or that anger or that worry as the saber-toothed tiger chasing you. So it starts to stop all of the things that is going on with the muscles, and it makes the muscles tighter. So the thing I always say to my clients is everything you think, feel, and do will tighten your muscles. That's a fact. And it's like, if you don't believe me, think about the last time you were angry. Didn't your body feel tight? If you worried all day about something, didn't you feel tired at the end of the day? Now, challenge or compare that to when you're having a great time with your friends and family and you're totally relaxed. How did you feel at that time? Exactly. You felt relaxed. So when you talk about stretching is more about releasing the thoughts in your head while at the same time releasing the muscle tension just by releasing the thoughts in your head. So when I talk to people about stretching, you can't think about what you did an hour ago, and you can't think about what you're going to do an hour from now. So what you have to do is focus in on what you're doing. And as you're stretching the muscle itself, it's a gentle stretch. You're not pulling it hard. We're not trying to pull your foot off or pull your arm off. So keep that in mind, because again, we're not pulling taffy, okay? We're not pulling taffy here. We're releasing the tension in the body. And so what you're doing, that releasing that tension in the body, you're also releasing the tension in your mind. Now, we interchange brain and mind a lot. Brain is a physical brain in your head. Mind is your thought process of what's going on there. When you release the tension in your mind, you release the tension in your muscles. Go back to when you're having a good time with your friends, how relaxed you are. Now, when you're stretching, you're going to gently pull your foot back. You're going to gently pull your leg or your arm back, and you're just going to feel your body letting go. It's not going to hurt like crazy. I don't want it to hurt. I don't want you to be sore tomorrow. If you're sore tomorrow after you're stretching, you were pulling way too hard and fighting with your brain. You were strength training, okay? So what you're going to do is you're just going to let go. So how do you not only follow this, but also keep this going and be motivated to keep it going all the time? Well, there's some key things that stretching can do for you that not only helps you physically, but also helps you psychologically. Physically, we automatically know that it helps protect the spine, it helps protect the joint, it takes away the stiffness. But did you know it also improves your cardiovascular system? Because once your muscles are loose and they're not stiff, no matter your age, I mean, I've seen this in people 80 and 90 years old, once you take that stiffness out, now what happens is when you walk, it takes less energy for you to walk, which means you can walk farther. You can do more things that improves the health of your heart, improves your ability to breathe. There's no reason in your 80s and 90s, unless you're suffering from a major disease, that you can't improve your body to the point of where you were 20 or 25 years ago. I've seen it every day. Psychologically, what stretching does for you when you do it right is it brings a sense of calmness over your body. It reduces the heart rate. It reduces the breathing rate. It allows you to get within yourself, calm the mind, so you can calm the body and improve your overall lifespan on that. So the motivation, understand that when you're thinking about stretching, most people stretch when they feel tight. I want you to stretch every day for like 15 or 20 minutes in the morning, 15 or 20 minutes in the evening. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you've got lots of videos on my channel here that have shown you some stretches to do in the past. Work at it and really get to the point that you can relax the mind so that you can relax your body. The way I think of stretching is I don't tie it into my fitness side. So I go to the gym, I work out, I do things during my day with body weights to work out as well. I don't compare it to that because most people always lump it into that mindset. A fitness mindset has to be rigid because you're breaking through barriers, you're pushing yourself to do things that you haven't done before. Stretching is a whole different mindset. So the way I think about stretching is the same way I think about eating. No matter how much food I eat today, I could eat a ton of food today, the best food on the planet. Tomorrow I'm going to be hungry, right? So will you. You didn't do anything wrong. That's just the way your body works. You eat the food for fuel, you use up the fuel, tomorrow you have to refuel again. Well, stretching should be in more of that mindset. You stretch today, you're comfortable, you're calm, but the thoughts you have, the feelings you have, and the things you do throughout the day are going to tighten your muscles. So then this evening before you go to bed, do it again. Now, once you go to bed, you're going to have dreams and you're going to roll around in bed. Tomorrow morning, you're going to be tight again. Stretch again to start your day. Start your day off calm. End your day calm. And what you'll find is you'll have better sleep, you'll have better cardiovascular system, and your life will be so much better. Give it a shot. Like I said, don't fight for perfection here. What we're looking for is to take the moment to calm your mind so that you can calm your body. It becomes addictive after a while. And you start to miss it, and your whole perception of stretching, of how we learned in physical education class or how we learned in sports, is going to change. And your friends will think you're crazy because they all hate stretching. But once you share with them how to do it right, you'll be amazed at how it will change your life. So for now, see ya. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, please check out the next video to it. It's a great addition to what you just learned. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya.